Alrighty, why am I doing this? First, Donald Trump is either getting bad advice or rejecting good counsel on how to handle really all of his situations, but especially the one about aggressive behavior with women. And they're destroying him. They're destroying him. He should be 15, 20 points ahead right now if it were not for the professional liars at ABC News, NBC, and CBS, plus NPR. Combined, they reach 50 million people a day. Compare that to Fox News, which reaches 1 to 2 million. When ABC, NBC, and CBS go on one of their wrecking campaigns against a Republican, everybody talks about it in the whole world, because reaching 50 million is so powerful that it gets all on board, to the extent that even people on Fox News, on talk radio, and on conservative websites are also talking about the latest smear against a Republican. And in this year, they've almost all been against Donald Trump. In 2012, they were against Michelle Bachmann, they were against Herman Cain, and they were against Rick Santorum. One after another, they took them down with their smear machine. Now, there's an easy way. This is the frustrating part about the whole deal. There is a tremendously easy way to shut them down. But the counsel, seemingly throughout conservative media, I hear it from Sean Hannity, I hear it from Rush Limbaugh, and I hear it from others, stick to the issues, stick to the issues. Stick to the issues means only talking about Hillary Clinton. But Hillary Clinton is tiny compared to this giant monster. Where is it? Here. This monster in the room that is the professional liars in the news networks that reach 50 million people. Plus, ABC and CBS have radio hourly updates, sometimes every half hour. 24 times a day they can lie about you on the radio. And that expands from 50 million to who knows how many. CBS claims they have a 30 million radio audience. That would be 80 million. I say, attack her, of course, but go mainly after them. And when you go after them, explain why you're doing it, because they are her campaign team.
The tone of the media attacks on Donald Trump has gone from aggressive to apocalyptic. I have never seen anything like it. It is as if every commentator and opinion monger and bloviator who doesn't like the Donald feels compelled as an act of conscience to speak out and to somehow to stop the voters from voting for Trump.
Chaos on the campaign trail. Anti-Trump protests turning violent this week as protesters burn signs, taunt police, and smash glass. Now, critics are asking, why is the mainstream media ignoring who's behind many of these protests?
The media is full of progressives, and these organized protests, these professional agitators, are supported by not just far-left groups, but also mainstream progressives.
We're going to take on the special interests, the lobbyists, and the corrupt corporate media right back there. They are corrupt as you can get. You know, the single weapon that Hillary Clinton has, I mean, she couldn't even pass her bar exam in Washington, D.C. She failed it. The single weapon that she's got is the media. Without the mainstream media, she wouldn't even be here, folks. That I can tell you.
I look back in 2008, of the top 100 newspapers in circulation, 80% endorsed Obama.
She is being protected by the media, by the press, like nobody ever has been protected in the history of this country. Me, on the other hand, it's a total pile-on. Actually, a couple of the media people have said, also, in the history of our country, there has been nobody hit so hard, so viciously, so violently, and I will tell you so ridiculously unfairly, as Donald Trump. I'm proud to do it for you folks. I'm proud to do it.
You have a country, basically elections being decided by these liars, NPR, New York Times, Washington Post, whole bunches of them, AP, USA Today, who all are in alignment toward a global government, toward massive, continued, legal immigration in this country that has already destroyed this country. The overcrowding of the schools, the constant, never-ending expanding of freeways, always construction going on there, new buildings, people moving out the suburbs, cities getting bigger, more traffic, schools filling with people, more school buses, schools lying to children about evolution, about human sexuality, about the history of slavery, about global warming. Why, oh why, are Christians and conservatives sending their children to these deceit factories, teaching demonic lies? And then you fill the schools with immigrants by the millions. 100 million increase in population in America since 1970, all because of immigration. Because our population was going down, beginning. It was cresting and about to go down in 1970 at 203 million, and then we have 320. So all of the increase can be attributed to immigration. And you're paying for the kids in the schools. They tax your property, which means you cannot actually own land in the United States of America. Because if they can tax it and take it away from you if you don't pay, then you never owned it to begin with. You just have a fancy lease. And you're paying for the destruction of your country, on top of multiculturalism, where you allow people in with different cultures and invite them to keep their culture rather than becoming American, especially with the Muslim culture that invades and conquers wherever it goes, starting 1,400 years ago when they invaded Israel, they invaded Europe, and they've restarted since the riches of the oil boom that our Democrat president gave them back after World War I, after they were on the wrong side, fighting and lost in World War I. With the Muslim culture, they never blend. Their job is to take over a country. And they will do it legally through immigration and quietly at first, acting polite and saying we're just peaceful people, but by the time they reach, and they're a little less under 5% here, but by the time they reach over 5% or 8% or more,
it's a real discrimination.
My child should be able to celebrate their holiday.
Anger from Jersey City's Muslim community, a walkout as this city's school board debated and indicated it would not close the schools on Thursday of next week for the Eid al-Adha feast of sacrifice holy day.
We feel alienated from the Board of Education. We feel alienated from this system.
There were tears from a young girl as Muslims realized that even with unanimous city council support a week ago, the school board would not create a new holiday at this last minute.
Security, police, take charge. We're no longer the minority. That's clear from tonight. We're going to be the majority soon.
Nearly 4 hours of debate ended with the school board saying it could not disrupt the lives of others.
Doing this at this point with 6 days notice for this upcoming holiday is going to cause undue hardship on possibly 5,000 or 10,000 people who are going to have to scramble to get coverage for their children.
And then there was a fairness issue raised by the Jewish community, which does not get days off for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur.
Many of our Jewish members are feeling left out.
School board members did make clear that Muslim children can have an excused religious absence for the Eid holiday next week with no penalty. It did not directly address the issue of Jewish holidays. In Jersey City, Brian Thompson, News 4 New York.
They start protesting and complaining, and right now they're massively voting for Hillary. So they're already having an impact in the United States. At any rate, those people and the Democrats, and really 95% of the Republican Party, are behind this destruction of America. What I call a planned, premeditated murder of the United States. by immigration and by appointing liars to the Supreme Court. Also hundreds of other judges in lower courts. Liars, because they take an oath of office to defend the Constitution. The minute they make a ruling that does not uphold the Constitution, not some crap later ruling that they refer to and say, well, we're referring to that ruling because it set precedent. Nothing should set precedent but the Constitution. So these guys go out and they prove themselves to be liars. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sandra Sotomayor, and the others that appointed by Clinton and Obama, and some by the liberal G.W. Bush, lie, at least on the day they swear to uphold the Constitution. And they are destroying the country also, through immigration, through the judges, through the lying in schools, and these people who reach 50 or maybe 80 million a day at ABC News, NBC, and CBS, NPR, that deceive the American people, their own audiences, every day, every year, for half a century. That's the enemy. That's who you have to go after. It's stupid to just go after Hillary, because Hillary, Bill, Barack Obama, none of them exist if it's not for these giant news networks that are so powerful that when they speak, everybody talks about what they said, especially if it's a smear. So they'll smear Donald Trump, and Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and Tammy Bruce and Michael Savage will be out there defending him. But they're out there discussing the topic brought up by the professional liars. That's the power. And they always take people down. They took 3 of them down, 3 decent conservatives down in 2012, and they're probably, maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's strange powers that I don't know about, but they've damaged Donald Trump to such an extent that he could easily lose. And he's already behind. All based on deceit in our fake news operations. All right, so number 1, never defend yourself to them. Attack back. You wouldn't have to attack back if this were an innocent situation where the media were honest and you wanted to come forth, come clean and say, okay, I did that. You wouldn't have to attack back then. But the fact that these people are professional liars opens up the door, grants you permission, righteous permission, to attack back rather than defending the charges. Number 1, do not defend yourself to them. Number 2, the last worst case scenario, if everything else goes wrong in what you've done in your past, like maybe Herman Cain in 2012, and maybe Donald Trump, maybe he's aggressive with women. You know, a lot of women like men who are aggressive. A lot of women like that. So I don't want to get too far down the road of declaring it necessarily wrong anyway. But let's say he was wrong in some cases. Worst case scenario. Remember, you never defend yourself. Worst case scenario is you say, you know what? I haven't always been the man I would like to be. I've been a lech and annoying, oftentimes without even realizing it. And I regret that. You're not defending yourself there, you're confessing. I don't think Donald Trump even needs to go there. But that would be the worst case scenario to do if there was no way out of it. The best thing to do is this. Donald Trump, we have a series of women who say that you have sexually assaulted, or not assaulted, but made moves on them. Whatever it is. The answer is right here. You look at the reporter, and it was an ABC reporter, I think, Martha Raddatz, that asked that. But many other reporters are asking it not during debates. You look at the reporter and you say, what the hell do you care? Really, Martha, what do you care? And she says, well, you know, she starts saying, well, you know, anybody should care about that. And then you look at her again and say, but you have already proven, and your entire network, plus CBS and NBC, that they do not care about this charge if it's a Democrat. Bam! End of story. You've killed the discussion. Now, she may push and defend herself and try a little, but then you've got to dig in with numbers. Martha, your network, ABC, reported 114 times in the last 2 weeks about women complaining about me. When you've got women complaining about Hillary Clinton, smearing them because they spoke out about one, a rape, others, sexual assault, you won't interview them. So you're not reporters at all. You don't work for a news agency. You work for a company that lies to its audience, deceives its country, all toward the goal of getting lying Marxist, Democrat traitors elected to destroy America. So when you go work for a news agency, a real one, and you spend a couple of years proving your reputation that you actually care about truth, then you will have the right to ask me a tough question. Until then, look over there. That's Hillary. Ask her these questions, and do not let her off the hook, and explain to her why you have not asked her those questions over the last 30 years. So that's the way to do it. End of story. Never defend yourself. If you're stuck in the hole and you can't get out, then you say, you know what? I've not always been the man that I would want to be. But you're looking at a woman who is trying, literally trying, through Islam, Muslim immigration, through just immigration all over, to destroy this country by way of overpopulation. We all save resources now, right? Save the gas, save the water, save the paper. That's because we have 100 million more people in the country than we did in 1970, when there was no need whatsoever to bring in immigrants. Forget what the Statue of Liberty says. Who cares? That is not the Constitution. That's a plaque that somebody put on there. Bring us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. We're not stuck by law to do that. And when the party is full, you close the door. And the party was already full after the baby boom in 1970 with 203 million people. That was plenty. We never needed to grant citizenship to one more immigrant. Just common sense. Why would you do that? As far as this overall advice of sticking to the issues, bullshit. Don't do that. The main issue turned another way. There is an issue that the campaign advisors don't call an issue. They say never talk, to fight the press. That is the issue in the United States, also in Europe, in Canada, and Australia. Professional liars influencing elections, getting traitors elected to destroy freedom in those countries and flood those countries with third world immigrants. It is World War III. They are at war with us. And how stupid would it be, is it, to not address the enemy, the real enemy? Hillary is just propped up by them. She's a very good liar, like her husband, like Barack Obama, like Michelle Obama, all very good liars, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid. These are all excellent liars, highly informed liars. But they aren't the enemy. Each time one of them gets termed out or loses an election, the atheist elite who run these news networks just pick another one. They just move right on. Look, I'm an amateur. I'm not even a very good amateur at this. But when you know something is not being done that could be done, and you recognize that highly paid campaign advisors are blowing it, then it's crazy trying to hold in that fire burning to get somebody to listen. I try to contact the Trump administration, Trump campaign. Nobody will write back. Nobody will acknowledge. Okay, once I did send a video, and some low-level campaign staffer did write back and said thanks. I watched it, but writing back to that same address afterward produced nothing. I can't reach these people. Yet what I'm saying is right. Newt Gingrich practices it, actually, and he has practiced it. I should show a video, brilliant video, completely shuts these crooks down.
Since birth control is the latest hot topic, which candidate believes in birth control, and if not, why? As you can see, it's a very popular question. It's a very popular question in the audience, as we can see. Look, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but it is. Please.
Can I just make a point?
Sure.
These guys are giving you some feedback here, John.
I see that.
I think they're making it very clear.
No, I think this. I'm going to make two quick points, John. The first is there is a legitimate question about the power of the government to impose on religion activities which any religion opposes. That's legitimate.
There is.
But I just want to point out, you did not once in the 2008 campaign, not once did anybody in the elite media ask why Barack Obama voted in favor of legalizing infanticide. Okay? So let's be clear here. If we're going to have a debate about who the extremist is on these issues, it is President Obama, who as a state senator voted to protect doctors who killed babies who survived the abortion. It is not the Republicans.
What's happening?
And he's even friends with Donald Trump. Donald, why aren't you taking the advice, not all of the advice? That's funny, because actually Newt Gingrich says to stick to the issues. But he's excellent at turning it back around on the professional liars. Pay attention. Use his clips as a role model, how he shut these questions down. You've now got the entire last month and a half of the campaign smears against the Republican, while these creeps at ABC, NBC, and CBS ignore the firebombing of a Republican Party headquarters, I think in North Carolina. Not just a little thing. I mean, a real actual firebombing. While they're ignoring the WikiLeaks releases showing, proving that Hillary Clinton and members of the media were colluding. While WikiLeaks reports came out from John Podesta hacked emails produced, while it was shown that the Clinton campaign was sending people to stir up violence at campaign rallies so these professional liars in the media could blame Donald Trump and his supporters for violence. All of this is coming out. Things where Hillary Clinton calling her own voters stupid. Plus, I mean, Benghazi, where she got another smear against Trump was that he spoke ill of a Gold Star family. Donald, why didn't you defend yourself against that charge? It was so damn easy. Yes, it was a Gold Star family. Yes, they had a Muslim soldier who died in Iraq. But what the press did not say, A, they didn't say he was a Muslim. B, they didn't say that he lied about you. C, they didn't say that Hillary invited him up on a stage to lie about you when they were reporting that you smeared a Gold Star family. D, they did not report that Hillary lied to 1, 2, 3 Gold Star families. People willing to be interviewed on camera and talk about her lying to them about their dead family members. So you had 4 chances to hit home runs on this phony, this con guy who got up and smeared and lied about you on during Hillary Clinton's Democratic National Convention. You had 4 chances to hit home runs against him. If you were going to bring up his name and say that Muslim women are generally forced to be quiet, if you were going to do that, then you needed to follow through with the 4 opportunities to hit a home run. And you failed. And you're still failing. You could still do it. You could do it at the next debate, which is in 2 days. You could do it anytime. Also, you could get live on these shows. Good Morning America, CBS Evening News, 2020, well, not 2020 because it's not live. NBC Nightly News, Today Show. Get live on them, on their shows, and call those people liars right where they are. How to call them liars? Say, you've reported 700 features about me. You combined with ABC, NBC, CBS, NPR. You've reported 700 times about stories of sexual situations with me and women. 3 times on Hillary. Never on Bill Clinton while he was running for the election, while he was running for president in 1992. The media ignored his scandals. So you prove yourself to be liars. Now, why do you do that live on their shows? Because then their audiences, who have been lied to by Katie Couric, by Matt Lauer, by George Stephanopoulos, by Robin Roberts, by David Muir, by all of these people, these skilled, highly informed, telegenic liars at ABC, NBC, and CBS, you reach their audiences and you tell America what the hell is going on. That's the fight. Fight isn't against Hillary Clinton. She's just the latest weapon used by them to destroy America. If you win without hearing or taking this advice, cool. They'll still rip you to shreds because you need this strategy at some point to shut those creeps up. But I'll be thrilled if you manage to win anyway, despite your serious flaws, really. I mean, you might rescue the country. And that's great, and that's where, you know, my applause comes from. But boy, you could really learn to fight back better, and not in ways that the advisors are giving you. They're telling you to just stick to the issues. People get bored with the issues. How many times do people want to hear about the economy and jobs? Yes, in the back of their mind, they want to know you've got that taken care of, but they want to feel like they're really being communicated with on a profound, maybe even almost spiritual level of combating evil against good. And when you open up that door to fighting the real war, people will sit up in their chairs and they will flock to the screen and listen. And missing out on that is a tremendous waste. Anyway, good luck. If Hillary wins, America, already on a deathbed, I would say, in critical care surgery, because of immigration and because of the laws violated by judges, we're already near death. If Hillary's elected, that's it. Because of the Supreme Court and her immigration policies, granting amnesty to several million, maybe 20 or 30 million illegal immigrants, and flooding us, as Barack Obama has been doing, with Muslims who are antithetical to the Constitution. They want Sharia law. The American Muslims, in large percentages, want Sharia law, which is the opposite of the Constitution. You throw away the Constitution when you have Sharia law. America dies on November 8th. It'll take liberals 30 years to figure it out that it died. But it dies on November 8th, unless Donald Trump wins. And that's why I'm making these crazy little appeals to try and reach people with the most logical, sound counsel about how to defeat an enemy, playing by the rules of reality, of what's actually going on. Jobs and women, you know, been sexually aggressive with, traffic, schools. Those count, but those are symptoms of the problem. Okay? There's a disease, and it's evil. And it is one that has been laboring to conquer America since really the 50s. It's just become so obvious in the last 10-15 years. That's the real issue. A fight of right against evil. You get in that fight and people will listen. And the people in the media, the enemies of America, they know the real fight. If not, then I don't know. Millions of people who understand what's going on are going to sink into a deep depression on November 8th. Unless there's some hope left by Donald Trump winning. Now, some of the people are to blame too. So let me just add that in, all right? Whenever I see a Supreme Court decision that violates religious liberty or violates the rights of children to learn truth in schools, and the next day I don't see anybody out front of the schools, of courthouses, out front of the homes of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sandra Sotomayor and Stephen Breyer and people like that, people protesting out front of their homes, embarrassing them in front of their own children, their own families, their neighbors, because they are traitors, then I realize that the American people don't seem to really want to fight. They want somebody else to fight for them. That's really what it is. They will cheer. They're all like cheerleaders, where they'll show up. If somebody speaks the truth, they'll show up and they'll cheer you, and that's better than nothing. But in reality, especially considering that Donald Trump is not a terribly strong candidate, he taps into some truths which rallies people around him. But the fact that he doesn't have strength in vital areas illustrates once more that the American people need to get on the streets and to stop sending their own children to deceit factories. Why, even if schools were teaching truth, why would you send your children to strangers for 12 years all day long and then 4 more years? Why would you do that? Even if it was truth, what takes that long to learn? But when knowing that we're dealing with liars, in the best case scenario, liberal airheads as teachers that are feeding lies to children, then you're insane as parents or derelict for putting your own kids in those buildings for 12 years. Man, we're a mess. And I guess maybe the American people just, TV is too fun, entertainment. Everybody wants to laugh and have good lives and 3-car garages and 2-story houses, go boating, play with the kids, instead of fighting the war, instead of fighting for truth, instead of fighting against demonic liars. Then maybe I'm just watching an inevitable and basically voted for by the people. Voted with their feet by not being out on the streets protesting the evil injustice that has encompassed our land for a long, long time. All right, I'm out of here. I hope it's not the end of America. I know there are more important things to focus on, spiritual matters and stuff, but you know what? People in the Bible fought for physical things. Nehemiah went and rebuilt the wall in Jerusalem. John the Baptist stood up against a corrupt king and died for doing so. 1,000 years earlier, Elijah stood up against a corrupt king. There are examples in the Bible of the people going public in the physical realm to take action, standing up against corruption, standing up for truth. We don't see that. Yeah, there's a fairly active and growing conservative media and a fan base that is good. But I don't know, it's, like I said, death is on November 8th, and we still don't have people on the streets protesting. So I kind of have doubts there's any hope for us. And as I said, I already think that we're on a deathbed already, in some ways with injuries that will never be healed because of the immigration. But we can hope for a reprieve and maybe get a chance to last somewhat longer, even though the people are still not fighting for their freedom, for truth, and against liars the way they should be. We'll see how it comes out. Anyway, I got it off my chest because it's been bugging me. I keep thinking, who's going to care? And my videos don't get, except for a couple of them, hardly get any views at all anyway. So the chance of it going viral is limited, and therefore the chance of it ever reaching where it should go. And that's to the Trump campaign and his advisors and some of the talk radio people and at Fox News, so that they stop counseling, stick to the issues. But I keep waking up saying, do it. I hear this, this thought in me. Get it, at least try. So this is me at least trying in what seems like a very likely futile effort. Never know, though. So a lot of people really want America to recover, and well, who the hell wants to live in a dying country? One that's being murdered. It's just, it's unpleasant. So, so it makes all of our lives better if this literal traitor, a traitor is somebody who's trying to weaken or collaborating with an enemy to destroy his own country. And that is what the people at ABC News, NBC, and CBS are doing. And it is what the Democrats are doing. It is what Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney and Mitch McConnell in the Republican Party are doing. Traitors collaborating with a world order to essentially liquidate the American culture and the Constitution. See how it comes out. This will probably be my last campaign video before the election. And that's it.